the floor to some questions.
Someone said about 10 years ago that print is dead. What's happening with print?
Print will never die because you don't always have a computer in front of you. And the term print, it's a legacy term. Print is simply a term for newspapers, but newspapers now exist online. Whether or not paper will be printed forever, the role of highly paid, very professional journalism, writing good content, will always remain, in my mind.
Wondering, do you feel that you might ever lose out on advertising revenue by having slightly controversial blogs and controversial blog posts?
Can you repeat the question? The guys didn't hear over here.
By being controversial, is there a risk that we alienate advertisers from our blogs?
I think it certainly is something that I did and I do think about the whole time. For example, if you look at the earlier Two Oceans vibe, there are photos of girls on the floor kissing each other. I know version 2 of the website obviously had me dry humping a model in a logo, and as soon as I changed that, suddenly Woolworths started to knock on the door. So I think it definitely is on my mind. Richard actually explained something to me once, and it's like a rocket going up to space, and there's a fuel cell at the bottom, and it needs that fuel to get to a certain level, and then it drops that fuel cell, and then it goes on, but it has to drop that cell in order to go on.
For me, I've never ever sold adverts on any of the blogs. I use it for in a different way. So I own 2 businesses, an innovation company and a presentation firm, and I'm also a professional speaker. I need PR to be around me as a thought leader. The only way to do that is to be somewhat contrarian and controversial. So I absolutely am not scared about alienating advertisers because I have no interest in it at all. I just hope that people read my stuff, see my face, and then one day engage me on a business level. And I think for most people blogging, there's an easier route to cash in building yourself as a thought leader in a space than hoping to generate revenue from one-man click-throughs.
Do you feel that blogging is viable for small businesses to promote themselves?
Alone, no. I don't believe that you can have a company that nobody knows, go to WordPress, open a blog, and start writing, and hope that people will come to you. Understand that a blog is like a house in the middle of a street, in a suburb, in a city, in a province, in a land, and there's a lot more of them. You have to make sure that people have maps and find where you're writing. So if you write good opinion pieces and make sure and engage with people, get a network, get a conversation going on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then start driving traffic to your opinion pieces, then you have a chance. But alone, I don't think so.
Do you have control over your writers?
I do guide them. There's a style guide in terms of stuff that we dig, stuff that we don't dig.
Do you approve it before it goes out? Or?
No. But I do. But if I see something and it's not on the right vibe, it's early these days, then I'll just press pause and I'll say to them like, that's not funny.
Yeah, I'm just interested to hear if you have something very unique to talk about and you only start blogging now, you don't have the contacts, how many years do you think it will be before you become a serious blogger?
It has amazed me how quickly people come on all the time. First of all, either say something different or do something different, and people will find you. But that's where it's great to use tools like Twitter, because you want people retweeting, but you actually force yourself into the conversation and find tools and engage with people. I think it's very possible to do it quickly. All right.
Rich, you don't seem to be too concerned about your traffic, but obviously traffic's a big thing for you. You mentioned 300,000 page impressions, and you're getting your traffic through controversy and through Twitter and through the radio station and other ways. Are you doing any online marketing like PPC or SEO or anything like that to get traffic?
No, but in terms of the SEO thing, I was thinking about that from the start of 205. 205 is now at a point where it's got a Google page rank of 5 out of 10. Which is very high. I think CNN is like 7. So 5 out of 10 means if I write an article about you tomorrow, it'll be #1 in Google if someone searches for your name for a very long time. 25% of 205 readership comes from Google.
I wanted to know what's next.
What's happening next? And the point is, if you had to ask me 5 years ago where I'd be now, I would not be able to tell you. And if you had said to me that I'd have what I have now, I'd tell you that you're crazy. So to ask what's next, you cannot answer. The only thing that is constant in this space is change. It's the only thing.
I think that people, first of all, from a content point of view, we just need whatever forum it is a place to vet. And so I think that will stay. In terms of social networks and how they'll go, I think what you'll find is there'll be a lot less. How we share things is people will start seeing networks like Facebook more as an operating system. I think you'll see a lot more computers actually run on the back end of Facebook. And I think the future, if you're trying to get anything new and built on the space, build something that uses that network and that API as a base, and try to build from there. What I can tell you though, the one thing that he's done well and I've done pretty well over time is being able to get on every single time there's a new social network or thing like that, I log on and I get my name, just in case. Yeah.
You guys have been blogging for quite a long time, so maybe one or two things that bloggers shouldn't actually lessons that you
I think the big thing that I do get asked a hell of a lot is what I need to do. I'm starting a blog, and the one thing I always say is just write every single day. Because if somebody comes to a blog and they like a post and they leave it for a while and they come back in a month's time and there are no posts for the last 3 days and they try again the next day and there's still not another post, they'll never come back again. At the very least, write every single day. In terms of sponsors, something that you were saying was, if you can just, it's very easy to get freebies. It's very easy to tell a brand that your blog has a niche audience and it happens to be chocolates. So you go to Dairy Made or whatever, Cadbury's, and you stick their logo up and they give you free chocolate, but no one's paying. Right? As soon as you have that there, it makes a whole vibe. And the next thing is, there's another sponsor and you say to them, Cadbury's are with me, it's about $1 grand, man. And then you go on.
My side, I can't say about what not to do, but I'll tell you a good trick. If you start a new blog and you want to generate traffic, comment on every blog you can. Bloggers, for the most part, are ego-driven. We want to know that people are reading what we write. So I always go through and I check all the comments, and anytime I see a new face, if their name is a hyperlink, I can't help myself and I want to go through and see what their blog is about.
In terms of sustainability, how do you capture the market that's coming through that aren't reading your blog now, that want to see video?
Just one thing on that though, is that luckily you're not all dead yet. I don't have to worry. I will let 18-year-olds worry about 18-year-olds because nothing I can say will be of interest for them. The nice thing is, as I age, I'm 36 now, 4 years from now I'll be 40 and I'll be writing stuff of interest to 40-year-old people. And what I've realized is there's enough 40-year-olds that still care. I would rather grow with my audience, and there's some really good video bloggers in South Africa, young dudes. I'm speaking with Kaya next week. Young guys are out there and they've targeted a market that I simply don't know how to speak to.
In terms of prominence now, in terms of blogging and the success of your blog, Seth, is that right now you're aggregating so much good content, and is the success at the moment not actually the blog, it's the people that aggregate the content, and obviously then you feed it through, like you said, to the magazine where it's actually the blog is actually happening. But I'm saying, is that where the success is or the prominence is at the moment?
Yes. I made a choice. I realized, I decided from just seeing the response, and I worked it out for myself, and I decided all it is they want to read about stuff that they talk about at dinner. It might be the latest viral video, I'll make sure I have it. I want to survive to be a one-stop shop. That's all I'm doing. Just sticking out posts, whether it's me or someone else, about stuff that people really give a fuck about and stuff that people talk about.
I'd like to ask your opinion about commenting anonymously or under one's own name, and the reaction, the terribly negative reaction that one gets when one does use one's own name.
I personally have zero respect and tolerance for anonymous commenters. I stand up and put my face and my opinions on things. I have a good client base who I often attack, but I stand up to do that, and I expect, if you want to engage in a conversation, I expect somebody I want to know who I'm talking about.
I think it's great for the hits if there's a war going on, but it does start to get a bit scathing at times, and in the old days I might have let it happen, but these days it's nice to aggregate that kind of stuff. I don't want any major negativity going on. But in terms of the anonymous thing, there was someone once who wrote some nasty comments and they didn't use their real name, and then they mailed me directly and they said, why don't you let it through? And I said, well, it's not your real name. And they said, hey, is that a big deal? But it is a big deal. If you want to be in this forum and have all these eyes reading your thing, step forward. Yeah.